Here we go. Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to a very special episode of the Overseas Connection podcast. Oh, yeah. It is the reunion show, minus one of the members that was supposed to be, and it's kind of classic. This is, of course, the official podcast of the G4TE.com community. That is your gateway to a mature gaming community. On the show this week, I am excited to introduce, well, first and foremost, Mr. Richard Webster, who you know and love.
Good evening, Greg. Good evening to the other hosts who will announce shortly, and good evening to the listeners. What a week. What an absolute fucking week.
It indeed was a fantastic week, Rich. Great for gaming, and it's just going to get even better today. Also on the show this week, one of the originals, and Rich, you are one of the originals as well, I should say. We have Mike Chin.
Hello.
Hello, Mike.
Yep.
Mike, as excited as I am to have you on the show, I mean, you're not exactly foreign to the podcast, so I can't get too excited.
No, I mean, it's rare that I'm on, but I was on recently. So
like last week recently.
Like last week recently.
Right.
But yes, glad to be on, Greg. Thanks for getting us on. And I agree with Rich. What a week. It's been a great week for video games for me, but like a hard week for work for me. So I'm very happy to be here. It's Friday. Let's have some fun. Let's talk some video games.
Yeah, let's relax. Let the hair down. Mr. Christopher Matthew, let the hair down, son. What's up with the tie? You're formal.
Oh, I don't appreciate your comments about my follicle challenges, Mr. DeLacy. My attorneys will be in touch. I must say I've never seen Mike Chin's setup before. I feel as though our podcast game has been elevated just because he has that diffuser in front of his microphone. That takes us up a notch. Yeah. Just that.
Yes.
I wasn't sure. You said we were doing this thing via webcam, and I've never done a webcam podcast. I wasn't sure. I wanted to make sure I wasn't underdressed.
For the listeners, Christopher Matthew. I love Christopher Matthew. Christopher Matthew is wearing a shirt and tie, everyone. This is a military man. You can tell he's a military man because he came prepared. He's ready. He's smart. He's ready to go.
Yes, he is ready to go. You know what? Chris, you can always count on Chris. He was Mr. Reliable. Right there with you, Mike, step and toe. The one person that was not terribly reliable, and this was, we think, was it narcolepsy? Is that what it is? The sleep deprivation? Narcolepsy, yes.
Narcolepsy, yes.
I'll go with narcolepsy, though, for the podcast's sake. Mr. Richard Primrose. He was supposed to be on.
Rich is dead.
Rich is dead. Rich is dead to us. This is nothing new, right?
It's like going back 4 years, Greg. This is brilliant.
Yes, I'm excited. I'm excited to be talking to all three of you. For those that don't know, Greg DeLacy, gamertag OC _ Murphy's Law on Twitter, and technically just Murphy's Law on Xbox Live. All right.
When was the last time?
Yes.
That all four of us, I'm excluding Primrose because he's dead to us.
Right.
Was on the same podcast. How long ago was that?
Easily, probably 3 years ago. I want to say it was probably 3 years ago at least.
I'm gonna go with 2.5.
2.5. You did make it.
Through the summer of 2013, we still were the same crew, and I want to say we probably got all four of us on there at least one of those shows. I could be wrong.
Oh, okay. Something went a little staticky there. Not quite sure who that is. I can't tell. Is that you, Mr. Webster?
I don't know. It might have been me. Might have been the fairies.
I'm going to vote fairies.
Microphone?
Rich is operating. Yeah, Rich is operating remotely today.
Yeah, I've been on the road this week. Give me 1 second.
No worries. We're not going anywhere. We're just going to talk video games. But yeah, Chris, you might be right. Probably about two years ago-ish.
You may be right. I may be crazy.
You are crazy. That is a proven fact. But yeah, well, you know what? Let's not dwell on the minutia, right? Video games. E3 just happened. I know, Mike, you're pretty well versed up on E3. I believe Mr. Webster watched all the videos in conferences. Mr. Matthew, I expect that you completely slagged off everything and elected to just do your own, you walk your own path.
As I always do.
Yes.
I
If it
did
wasn't
watch the entire Bethesda conference
okay,
and the Mass Effect and Halo 5 and XCOM 2 presentations specifically.
pretty much all you really needed to watch.
Spoilers.
Yeah, that was really all you needed to watch from this past E3. So yeah,
I
Video-
strive for efficiency.
you do indeed strive for efficiency, Chris. That's the military man inside of you. It's all about efficiency. Line them up, knock them down. All right, well let's just kind of talk about E3. Talk about what stood out to us. And also certainly if
Do
you
we have to, Greg?
We don't
Are we all sick
have
of E3 now?
I mean, that's why we're not doing any kind of recap today. We are
Okay.
firing from the hip. I mean, there were some standout games, and we're drinking. Yes, we are drinking. Standout games, Chris really hasn't had a chance to talk about E3, Mike. Richard Webster really hasn't had a chance to talk
true.
too much more about E3.
I
You and I
apologize.
have talked our ears off about E3.
Yep.
But Chris, let's start with you. Give us your top 2 or 3 games that really stood out to you. I think we already kind of know what they are, but let's talk it through. Are you excited about what you saw?
I am excited about what I saw. I'm definitely very excited for XCOM 2. I like the direction they're taking with the narrative on that, where they're assuming you lost the first game.
I would just like to point out, this is just like old times. Mr. Webster,
Yes.
whatever microphone you are using, or whatever paper you have next to that microphone that you were shuffling,
It was
Those
my
are
notes
notes.
from E3.
excellent. The whole world knows you have notes from E3 now.
At
Right.
least the 3 people that have
Yes.
turned in for the podcast.
Give me 1 second. I'll just go on mute. 1 second.
Just mute and then come back in when you need to talk. That will
Okay.
be a perfect solution.
Technology.
Technology. All right, Mr. Matthew. So where were we here?
Anyway, so nothing new to the world. I like the idea of picking up XCOM 2, assuming that you failed in XCOM 1.
Right.
Because let's be honest, you probably did a couple of times.
You probably did at least your first time, which should be canon, right?
Yeah. So you and it's also a throwback to the original. So in the original 1993 XCOM, if you lost, then the governments of the world made peace with the aliens, which ended in human enslavement. So I think that's an interesting way to pick up the narrative. They showed tactical gameplay. It looked pretty exciting. Everything seemed to move a hair faster, maybe, although that might have just been for the purposes of the demo. What'll be interesting is how they flesh out resourcing your organization. They've got to stick with some type of research tree,
Right.
some type of squatty leveling up. Otherwise it loses the soul of the game. But I thought what they showed was really good. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to be purchasing new PC components to make sure I can run it on maximum settings.
I will not be purchasing new PC components to ensure I can run it on maximum settings. However, I will be purchasing the game to run it on a PC because that, at least right now, is my only option.
It's the gateway drug, Greg. It's the gateway drug. You'll
It
get on
is.
Steam, you'll download that, and then you'll look at this Steam sale thing. Look at all this. What? That's only
Slippery
99
slope,
cents.
man.
I'll have
It's a
that.
slippery slope because Duke now is on that slope and he's inserting power units and he's in and he can't see any way out. He's past the event horizon. And
I saw him on
don't want to go
Facebook
near.
selling computer parts. I was like, wait, what is he doing selling computer parts? So good on him.
Yeah. No. So XCOM 2. Mike, are you excited for XCOM 2? You weren't the biggest XCOM fan, as I recall.
I did buy it though. I did give it a chance and I did play it some and I do like it, but it was very difficult for me to get into. And I remember you, Greg and Chris just constantly talking about it, and I just felt like I was missing out. I don't know. There's something about it I didn't get, and the massive Chalice game that came out on the Xbox One recently,
Right.
Greg.
Right.
I get it. I'm sort of getting into it. I was like, yeah, I get it, but it just doesn't do anything for me. That game just doesn't. It frustrates me in a way because I know it's really good. I really sort of. I understand the fun in it, and I understand.
Right.
And I want to sort of get what you guys are getting from it, but I just can't. I just can't get into it. Maybe one day somebody will release something similar that will click with me, or maybe I'll try it again. But
Well, in
I have
one
a hard-
sense, Mike, I think,
Maybe I'm dumb.
Halo Wars kind of has some similarities from the standpoint of you're managing resources, you're being tactical, but I think you like the fact that it's a fast-paced interaction. I think that turn-based stuff.
I've never gone on with turn-based games.
Yeah.
I've never liked them. The only one I've ever played really and played all the way through is South Park: The Stick of Truth. And that's because it's coated in South Park, you know.
Right.
I've never gone on with turn-based games ever.
You're not much of a Final Fantasy guy, are you?
No.
Yeah.
No,
The,
he shouldn't be, by the way. Nobody
Hush
should
your
be.
mouth. Hush your mouth, DeLacy. Final Fantasy VII HD remake. I'm drooling over that. I didn't even. That wasn't in my top 3, however. Yeah, whatever. Handguns are illegal in California anyway. Pansy. So speaking of massive things, they showed the Mass Effect. I like that they're not calling this Mass Effect 4, but they did show the trailer for the next Mass Effect.
Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yes,
Mass Effect Andromeda. Again, a logical way to pick it up.
Yeah. Nearest
well in
star
the
system
future.
to the Milky Way.
Yep.
That makes sense, doesn't it? They're just out exploring. That's a good plot, I think, for Mass Effect. I like the direction. I didn't really care much for the trailer. I didn't sort of get excited about it, but I don't know what you thought, Chris. But I just thought, yeah, that's fine.
Well, I geeked out heavy on Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, as you know. So anything that's more Mass Effect is good for me. I did like that they brought back the Mako in some capacity, allegedly anew and improved. So hopefully, fingers crossed.
Did you like the Mako? Because I didn't mind the Mako, and everybody hated it, and I don't know why.
I'm with you. I didn't mind it, but it wasn't my favorite part of the game.
No.
I loved it. I liked the exploring part, and the only bad thing with the worlds were so barren. There was fuck all there, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the biggest problem. That was the biggest problem.
And I hope they fix that in this one. It's going to get back to landing on planets and exploring. I hope they've either added more or just shrunk the explorable area to make it a little more dense, to make that part of the game a little more engaging, especially more engaging than just scanning the globe and launching probes, which was kind of
Probe away.
Scanning.
Yes.
Probe away. By the way, Rich, real quickly, I don't think we got your thoughts on XCOM 2, so we might as well dive in. Take a step back. XCOM 2, you in?
It looks really interesting, mate. I am sort of itching for a sort of new gen buzzword turn-based combat game. XCOM could definitely fill that gap for me, I think.
It could indeed. Were you not? Did you not play the first one? The original?
No, I didn't. I was more Civilization. Can't be bothered with anything else turn-based right now.
I thought you were going to say I was more civilized, which might be accurate too.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
No, I like where they're going with it as well. It's like what happened after type of thing. It's progression rather than just here's more of the same shit.
Yeah, I really like the fact that they took it in this direction too, because the follow-up to the original XCOM, I want to say that was Apocalypse, if I'm not mistaken. Mr. Matthew, you might remember this.
I think maybe I
want to say it went underwater.
Underwater, yeah.
Yeah.
It was Terror from the Deep. Now that you mentioned underwater,
Okay,
it was
yeah,
Terror from the Deep. Yeah. So my brother and I were both really into the original XCOM, and I remember we got with one of our gaming magazines
that
a 5.5-inch floppy disk. Remember those?
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Oh wow.
A 5.5-inch. Was it a 3.5-inch? Anyway, it was a floppy disk,
Right.
And it had the demo for Terror from the Deep, and it almost seemed like that one was like a step backwards from the original. It was like they just reskinned the original. It was at the thing that stuck out in my head was you were at these beach resorts, and so there were these weird pixelated bikini girls. It's like, what is that about? So hopefully, yeah. Let's not talk about that one.
Okay.
It's forgettable.
We will move on from that then. Anything else that stood out for you, Chris?
Fallout 4? No, certainly.
Certainly. Mr. Webster, I think, will jizz with you on this.
Yeah, it's just like, I really liked what I saw with Fallout 4. I'll let Richard go first, though.
Rich.
You can feel the love.
I'm playing Fallout Shelter right now, by the way. I'll have you know.
Lucky bastard.
I'm playing that.
Yes.
Yeah, look
Look at
there it
this.
is. Yeah,
Multitask.
I have one guy in my Fallout Shelter who's basically the fuck king. Like he just shags everybody in there. I need people. I need.
Right,
Like,
so
he's
it's the
just
planet.
all the kids are starting to look like him now. Which is a problem. And he's bald as well, so all the kids are bald. But you know, I need people, so I've got 30 people in my vault, and it just set on fire, so that's a good start.
That's definitely a good start. So yeah, Fallout 4, Rich.
Fallout 4 is pretty much. I think it's probably going to get game of the show from a lot of media outlets, to be honest, and it's certainly probably my standout game of the show. What they've done with that engine and what they've changed and added since only a couple of years ago is just amazing. You know what I mean? They've taken some of the best ideas from mods, like they did with Skyrim from Oblivion mods, and they've just made it better. And from everything that we've heard so far, even the stuff that come after with the interviews with the roundtable with Bethesda and what Todd Howard was talking about and Pete Hines' interview, they're really focused on the story. And I've read a couple of leaks, not necessarily leaks, but what people have deduced from the trailer and a few things. And it could possibly be one of the deepest stories Bethesda's ever tried to tell. So I'm looking forward to the story.
Okay.
Do you think there's going to be a celebrity in it? Website? Do you think like there was Patrick Stewart in Oblivion and
yeah, well, Bethesda they contacted me shortly after filming. Shortly after they started filming, they contacted me. They'd listened to the show, and you know, they wanted me to voice the main guy.
Chris,
basically.
We've talked about these fantasies and not to publicly display these fantasies. Okay, you can't say that.
I'm playing the guy who's Xbox.
Xbox.
Basically, everything about the world we've heard so far is fantastic, and what's really interesting, you know that scene in the trailer and the screenshot where you see the volumetric lighting and it's all foggy and green or orange. I'm colorblind, so I don't know. And the death claws there. Do you know the scene I'm on about?
I do.
Yes.
That scene is taking place where what they call the Sea of... Oh, fuck's sake, I've absolutely forgotten it.
Sex?
The Sea of Sex. The Sea of Sex.
Tranquility. No?
Sea of Tranquility?
That's on the moon.
Do you know what? I should have wrote this down. Basically,
Sex?
where the bomb fell in Boston.
Where the bomb fell in Boston. Oh.
Where the bomb fell.
Okay, in Fallout 4. Sorry.
Yeah, in Fallout 4, where the bomb fell is where that death claw is. That
Gotcha.
center of the blast is where that area is. So it's very irradiated and it's very hard to kill. Everything that's there, and they're going to set up levels of different areas. So some areas you'll be like in New Vegas, you couldn't attack the death claws for like half the game. So they're going for that as well, which is really interesting.
Okay.
I was with the crafting in it though. I mean, it's a bit silly really because they introduced crafting in Skyrim in one of their DLCs, and crafting is just such a big part of video games in general. I can't believe that most people just didn't see it coming. You know, like I didn't hear anybody talking about it. There's going to be crafting in Fallout 4.
I think everybody expected there to be crafting, just not on the level.
Did they, Greg?
Yes, they did,
I think,
asshole.
I think they did, Mike. I think they did, certainly. I was excited to see that they're claiming, and this is ambitious, but they're claiming that everything you find can be used in some way or another. Right, which has always been one of my beefs with the Oblivion, Fallout, Skyrim. I love all the clutter all over the place, but I want there to be a use for that coffee cup that I found at somebody's desk.
Right.
You know,
because you would just inevitably you would go into a room, you would basically take everything, and then you would find out that pretty much 70% or more usually of what you got out of that room was worthless. You can sell it for like
when you start a new game like that, you go, oh, there must be a reason for this book.
Right.
Like, they wouldn't put a whole story in this book for no reason, would they? Yes, they would.
Yes,
that's exactly what they would do.
Yeah, somebody wrote it, so they put it in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think all of us are kind of excited for Fallout 4.
Oh yeah, it's going to be. I'm wary about buying it straight away though, because Fallout games and
because of all the problems almost every other game has had this launch that's been big and ambitious.
No, I mean, but Bethesda games, I mean, as great as they are and as fun as they are, Fallout 3 came out and it was a bit of a mess when it came out. There was a lot of glitches, there's a lot of funny things that happen, and they will inevitably just patch them. So I might hold off for a few weeks before I get it. But I mean, it's going to be. I need to play New Vegas before it comes out though, so I'm not sure if I'm going to do it. But I know a lot of people. I mean, you see it on Twitch and Twitter and other podcasts. You hear them talking about, I'm playing Fallout 3. I'm playing New Vegas. They're trying to sort of wedge it in before this one comes out, and I feel like that's what I have to do.
It feels impossible
with
to me right now.
I know.
Yeah.
It does.
This is what I wanted to talk about really quickly. I found the article now. If anyone's interested, it's 19 new details for Fallout 4. Game Informer
Okay.
ran it basically.
And we're stealing it.
Yeah, pretty much. That center area they call the Sea of such and such. I really fucking can't find it at all for whatever, for some reason. But it sends radiation storms across the world. Like the map.
Lovely. Okay.
So that adds a sort of survival aspect to it, that every now and then, kind of Mad Maxy, there'll be this like storm coming that's radiated from where the blast sort of happened. They're making a much more dynamic world and dynamic weather. They're really focusing on making the world more dynamic. That's a word that they keep throwing around, you know.
It's kind of one of the new buzzwords. Open world, dynamic. Hey, before we carry on, Mr. Matthew, I believe you are paying attention to the chat.
I was having a quick roll through the chat.
If you would be so kind, could you maybe give out a little roll call for anyone in the chat? Give them a little shout out.
It looks like
I know one individual is in there who's extremely happy to see that you are on the podcast.
I did want to shout out Parsnip Nose. He said hello. And I might need some tutoring on how to open the chat, because I can only see the last messages. I don't know who's actually in there.
All right. Mike, maybe you can back up Chris on the chat.
My bad.
Yes.
That's all right.
In the chat at the moment, we have one of the moderators, which is Mark Annex, never heard of him. And we also have Bongo the Cien. What's you doing now, fucking day? For a fucking cheat. One Handsome Devil, Cosgun 5, Lambie 85, Parsnip, who shall not be named, 3,000.
Right.
Prawn Toast, who says that he just bought New Vegas for £2.50 on Steam. Good on him. Real M Warrior. Don't think he's a real warrior, but he might be. Who knows? Step J and Veteran Gamers. I heard that's one of the best video game podcasts going.
It's not
bollocks.
Bad. It's not bad. It's second rate, but you know. Hey, while we're speaking of people from the chat, want to give out a quick shout out to some of the newest followers of our Twitch channel. So Cerberus, Prawn Toast one that you just spoke about, Super Starless, and Manny Calavera all recently followed us on Twitch.
I don't like Manny Calavera because he's too good at the golf club.
He's quite good at the golf club.
Okay, there's a new golf course up now, everyone. Manny Calavera's like minus 25. It's like, well, there's no point, is there? Well, forget it.
Oh, thank you to everybody in the chat following us and watching us on Twitch right now. And by the way,
100 followers now, Greg. That's good.
That's good. Yes, we like that. We want to increase that tenfold at least. Hey, if you want to follow us and watch us live, in case you are listening to this, say, on iTunes or something like that, every Friday we record 3 p.m. PST, or give or take a few minutes, 6 p.m. EST, 11 p.m. on the UK front. And all you have to do is go to your web browser, type in live.g4te.com, and you will be magically transported to our Twitch page. So there you go. All right, well, let us continue on. Chris, anything else that stood out for you from E3?
Let's see, we talked Mass Effect. No, Halo 5 interests me, although I might be the only person on the planet who's interested in Halo 5 to actually find out what the story's all about. I thought the way they turned the direction of the narrative in Halo 4 was kind of intriguing. But I think that was it.
No, Chris, I'm with you. I'm fully in on Halo. If you haven't listened to the podcast series that they have up called Hunt for the Truth, look it up on like SoundCloud, that kind of thing. Type it into your local podcast device, whatever you're using to listen to podcasts. It's a mini series they put on. I think it's like 13 episodes. There you go. Type it in there, listen to it, and you will be quite happy, I think, Chris. It is a nice lead up for Halo 5 Guardians, and it's almost like a little audiobook. So it sets the stage. It's well worth a listen.
I do enjoy audiobooks.
Yeah. Speaking of Halo 5, I mean, that's one of the games that definitely was kind of on my list. I was really impressed by Warzone. Saw some footage from that. That's their new big multiplayer. It's more competitive, social competitive.
That's the 12v12, right?
24v24.
24v24. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of dying from where you didn't see dying from.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that including bots, or is that not including bots?
That's the one that includes the bots. So it is just a massive, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is 24 player. I don't know. Just 12v12. But there are bots on the battlefield. And what's nice is, for once, they're including in like Halo enemy combatant types. So you're Spartan versus Spartan. Red versus blue. Mm-hmm. But then there will be Prometheans on the battlefield. There will be, the Covenant will be on the battlefield as AI that you have to take out. Didn't they have modes like that
in Halo 4? Spartans versus Elites? I was pretty sure they did.
That was really just Spartans versus Elites. But here you're going to see grunts. You'll see hunters going onto the battlefield. You'll see the Prometheans actually coming onto the battlefield. And there'll be AI, almost like a distraction, if you will, aside from the human players that you're fighting against. It just seems like they're taking it in a really good direction, so I'm pretty excited about it. And the vehicle stuff looked awesome as well, so I'm all in for Halo 5. Anyway, enough of that. Mr. Webster, I know Fallout 4 was a big one for you. Anything else stand out from E3 for you?
Yeah, there's a few games that popped up. I've got a couple of honorable mentions for later, but
okay.
Just Cause 3 is a game that I'm really excited about.
I bet Mike is excited for that too.
Yeah, looks like the first one on massive steroids.
Okay, maybe not. Mike, I thought you were a Just Cause fan. I'm sorry.
No.
All right, never mind.
I liked 2. I didn't really love it though.
Okay, all right.
There's a lot of things in the third one that they've improved. They've not only obviously improved the graphics and the world detail and all that stuff, but they've got loads of new vehicles and new weapons to try out. You've got the wingsuit, which looks quite dynamic.
Right.
Sick of that word. That's all you hear this E3, dynamic, and I don't know, fucking whatever. Just sick of
buzzwords. At So Company, we love video games, and we know you love video games too. That's pretty much every conference.
Yeah. There's so many conferences this week, I swear to God. I think I've watched about 40 hours worth of E3 stuff this week.
Yeah.
Even the 2.5 hour PC gaming one.
How was that? I never saw anything about that. What was that?
I liked it. I liked the format, especially.
It was quite entertaining having that guy present it the whole way through.
Yeah, it was almost like a talk show, Mike. So they had the host was at a desk. I mean, it really was. I think he was at a desk, Rich. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I know he was sitting down at
Can we confirm if he was on a desk, please, in the chat? I want to know if he was on a desk.
Confirmed.
Because it's very. I won't enjoy this monologue.
Like Johnny Carson, Mike. It was Johnny Carson in video games. That's or for the newer kids, it was Jimmy Fallon and video games. Jimmy Fallon and video games. So everybody that came on sat down, and instead of doing this big stand-up kind of presentation, they had conversations.
Yeah.
Even though they were still toting and kind of promoting what they were there for.
They had a script and all that sort of stuff, but still.
It still felt a lot more natural. So I really kind of dug that presentation. I'd like to see that return.
Yeah, it was very good. It was refreshing. It was different, and I like that they tried to do something different. So the Just Cause 3 is basically just more mayhem, more chaos, more stuff blows up, more weapons. The grappling hook, the grapple wire is really interesting because you can do multiple now, so you can have 2 going at the same time. You can dynamically choose the torque and the tension as you do it, so you can have something really loose. You basically create a wrecking ball type thing. So it just looks like more chaos, but it's really interesting. The other big thing for me came from the PC gaming event was the announcement and the impending release of the AMD Fury X graphics card.
Fury X.
Fury X box. It's a $650 card.
Are you okay?
that,
Are you okay,
that
Greg?
competes.
Is
that
that- are you okay?
It's a $650 card with new memory. It's not using DDR5. It's using, I think they call it HBM,
It's
high
not using
bandwidth memory.
DDR5, Greg.
Fuck.
It's the first card to
Shit.
use high bandwidth memory. It's more efficient, a lot faster than DDR5. It basically competes up to a point
Wait a
with
minute.
the GTX Titan.
Wait a minute, Rich. Is it DDR5 or GDDR5? And then
GDDR5.
whatever happened to DDR4, which is supposed to be rolling out?
No, graphics cards have used GDDR5
I know.
for a couple of years now.
I know that, but I'm just asking, whatever happened to the DDR4? That was supposed to be rolling out, and that was going to be very CPU fast-centric memory.
DDR4 is coming with better support. Sorry, Mike. What are your thoughts on PC hardware?
I just got confused and I thought you said CPM. But he's in the show, so.
No, DDR4 is around now. Very, very small quantities, but the new Intel boards which are coming out for the next socket for Intel processors, that will support DDR4, so it will become more mainstream.
Got it.
But the AMD Fury X $650 card, up to a point, competes very well with the and beats, from what we see so far, the Titan X, which is the $1,000 Nvidia card.
All
So
right.
for almost half the cost. So that's quite interesting. It is a water-cooled card. They are releasing a fan-cooled card for $100 less. Probably perform a little slightly slower. But that for me, because that is the first truly enthusiast card from AMD for a long time. Like single GPU enthusiast card. So that was good. I'll tell you what was good from the Ubisoft conference. There wasn't a lot, to be honest. But what was very good was they showed a lot of stuff. I liked that. A lot of gameplay.
Actually, Ubisoft had two of my probably biggest games that I'm most excited for.
And I'm probably going to... Me and you probably agree on these two. Let's see how alike we are. My two standouts from that are Rainbow Six Siege, because we've seen more gameplay, no more, and Ghost Recon.
1 out of 2, Rich. I'm most excited for Ghost Recon Wildlands over Rainbow Six Siege. I'm excited for Rainbow Six Siege. Don't get me wrong, but Ghost Recon to me has that kind of special place in my heart. And For Honor really captured my attention. I want to see more from that game. I'm
Yes.
super excited for that.
I was surprised that they showed something so early, because that was the announcement of For Honor.
Yeah.
And they had a live multiplayer demo.
Yeah, and it looked good. It looked really
did.
good.
It did. It kind of had that Batman feel, but when the guy was saying it's more visceral, you can feel the blade and all this, but then when you actually watched the demo, you could tell that you could feel the clang, you could hear it. It was a very visceral experience, so it did look interesting. The reason why I haven't put it down is because I don't know if it's coming to PC. I don't think I wrote that down.
Yeah, I believe it is, but you never know. Ubisoft is
Yeah.
kind of one of those hit and miss type of developers when it comes to PC.
I liked what they did about you basically got like AI cannon fodder, but then
Right.
standout heroes, and you play the heroes.
I just like the fact that I saw a guy get beheaded just cleanly right through with the blade. That was good.
Yeah.
You're
That
a
was
sick
good. So
man,
y-
Greg. You're a sick
Yeah,
man.
I did like For Honor. That's actually in my honorable mentions, For Honor. But yeah, Ghost Recon Wildlands, I like the open worldness. Ubisoft was a very open world. We've discussed this on WhatsApp. It's very
Right.
open world thing. They've got Ghost Recon coming that's open world. Their
The Division.
thing he's got the Division's like
Right.
what I don't get about the Division is why would anybody play with you if you just turn your back on all your friends?
So, yeah, well, if you turn your back on all your friends, there are probably not a lot of people that are going to play with you. But my understanding, I have a little bit better understanding of this now. It's like you enter into the dark zone with your squad, and you will have an enemy AI target to go after, or I should say, a quest or something that is basically you versus AI. And other teams going into that will have that same objective, but I believe they have everybody has their own loot that they will get from it. So you don't have to worry about there only being like one thing of loot.
Yeah.
And then once you get your loot, so you're going to be encouraged to take out the enemy, because once you have to basically get that loot. So if you die before you got to the loot, basically the loot would never appear, so to speak.
Okay.
So the other team couldn't potentially steal it. But once you defeat the enemy and everybody gets their loot, then it's this nervous tension all the way, back to the extraction zone of, are you potentially going to run the risk of trying to take out the other team? And if you do, you reap the rewards. But if you somehow lose to the other team, you lose your reward. So
it's it's one of them where in MMOs, isn't it? Where it's like, what do they call it? Raiding? Raiding, where you get
raiding
loot
party,
and stuff like
right?
that. So they've kind of brought that into it, but they're adding a twist, which is typical of like a competitive sort of shooter type genre, but within a Tom Clancy universe, which is interesting. And we've seen the whole virus destroying mankind thing a million times before, so it'd be interesting to see how they approach it and if it's going to be any different. How much narrative there's actually going to be, type of thing.
Yeah, that probably is the one thing that remains to be seen.
But like I said, I did like the Ubisoft conference. They did show everything was like, here's a game and this is what it looks like.
Right.
Open world, like we've said. So you've got Ghost Recon moving to open world, which looks like a mixture between like Far Cry and the old Ghost Recon sort of mixed together, which was really good. The Division is obviously open world. You've got the Crew and open world racer. They've also got Far Cry and Assassin's Creed franchises, and obviously Just Dance, as we know, is open world.
Right.
You can dance anywhere.
You can dance anywhere.
Dance.
That makes Mr. Matthew happy. I can see it in his face.
You can dance if you want to.
He's dancing in his eyes, I can tell. I'm looking at it right now. Do you know what I was really interested with? This is actually on my interested list. Soma, from the developers of Amnesia.
Okay.
That looked really interesting as well. So that's definitely on my radar. We saw a little bit of gameplay again, this was an E3. I'm going to say that this is probably the best E3 we've had in maybe the last 5 years, I think, in terms of what we've seen.
I'd agree with that. I think it's been a good E3 this year.
There was so much gameplay. We were treated with a lot of gameplay, which is what you don't normally get. Normally, especially in like the camps of like Ubisoft and Sony, you'll just get a load of CGI.
Right. I think this is the first E3 that we saw solid AAA offerings being like shown and playable on the floor for quote unquote next gen, and we also saw the continued indie developers really stepping up and starting to offer games that they basically compete with the AAA games.
Yeah,
so
easily. Was it Ubisoft who, after everything they said, it was, this is playable on the show floor now? This is playable on the show floor now. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
So they had. They also had Trackmania Turbo. Looked interesting. And what was that one with the? Was it an Ubisoft one where they had the guy on the cat on the unicorn? What was that shit?
Oh yes, that was Trials. That was the next Trials expansion.
Okay, so
that was
kind of
Trials Fusion Awesome Level Max.
Yeah, that's what I've written here. It reminded me of, like, do you remember when Capcom come out with that Street Fighter X Turbo Alpha Capcom Edition, whatever? Was it for Dead Rising?
Yeah,
yes. It was, yeah.
I thought that was, and obviously Ubisoft did the Far Cry Blood Dragon thing. I like that humour. I do like that. In terms of honourable mentions for me, Mass Effect 4 has to go onto the honourable mention list. It can't be on the standout, purely based on the fact that we've seen fuck all yet. We've seen a CGI trailer which doesn't represent what the game could be like, because I'm sick of CGI trailers lying to us. You see the Shepard actor, whoever we are now, jump through the air and stab with his engineer's like thing. I've never seen anyone jump in Mass Effect before, so is that Omnitool? So is that a lie? Can we jump now? Can we do jump kills? They showed the Mako / whatever vehicle going on planets. Now I know for a fact that they've said in an interview that they're going to have sort of more planetary exploration. So that is what I'm interested in with Mass Effect. I don't understand why they've gone to Andromeda, because the galaxy is fucking huge. Why they need more space?
More space, Rich. More space. Bigger, better.
That's what I mean. Like how? I mean, it takes you would never get to the other side of the galaxy in our lifetime. So I don't understand it. But maybe
warp drives, Rich. Warp drives.
Warp drive.
Hyperdrives. You can answer all science
on
fiction with hyperdrives.
What's your thoughts on that, Chris? Why do you think they've gone to a whole different galaxy?
I think they, from a narrative standpoint, they have to. The whole point of the first 3 games was to protect the Milky Way from the Reapers. And after that narrative was closed out, they have to go elsewhere. I mean, at the end of Mass Effect 3, you destroyed the mass relays.
Right.
So they have to put it well in the future where in this universe they've developed the technology to travel between galaxies, and then they have to go to another galaxy to find somewhere that hasn't been explored yet because the Milky Way has been.
Or what if the canon is you crashed on that planet, the Mass Effect relays are gone, and so Mass Effect 4 now is taking place as like a survival, starting back up civilization and fighting for your place in the galaxy.
I believe they said in the trailer
They said
that
you're wrong.
They said it several hundred years in the future. Like they totally separated the narrative from Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. There's no Shepard. There's no Rex. There's no
Always be a Rex.
all those people.
All right. Okay.
Well, there'll be lots more Krogans now, right? Because
do we know? Sorry, do we know what will be the canon ending? Do we know which one was the one that they're going to follow up on?
That is going to create a shitstorm.
Yeah, you're going to restart the whole debate about the end of Mass Effect 3 being terrible.
Well, it went swimmingly well, as I remember. Yeah.
I think you're right. You know, Chris. I think once you go, something is going to kill the Milky Way. You can't really go any higher. You can't have something else is going to kill the Milky Way. So yeah, I think you're right. The Andromeda stuff. Plus,
you've got to kill the Milky Way, and then Mass Effect 4 was just about, there's an earthquake on this planet. So I saved the galaxy. Deal with it.
Yeah, basically. So you can't go any bigger. So maybe, and maybe they're just interested in doing some more art style because, as we know, Andromeda's slightly different. So yeah, so that's on my honorable mention list. I've put Adrift on here, but I'm thinking of taking it off only because I didn't really see anything new. Apart from the helmet being all cracked and stuff when you smash into things.
Right.
Anybody got any interest in Adrift?
I have interest in it. I want to see a little bit more from it.
Do you want to pay $30 for a 3-hour game?
That's a little hard to swallow, but yeah. I might. We talked about this. I mean, that's the whole the Order 1886 kind of argument all over again. It's a short, compact game can be worth full price or $30 in this case if it's only 3 hours. It could be worth that if it's done really well and it's got some kind of replayability to it. In my book, that's okay. I think that's where the Order 1886 fell short. Its replayability was pretty limited, and the narrative ultimately, I don't care what anybody says, playing through that was not the most engaging of scenarios.
Yeah. Well, the thing with Adrift, I think the guy keeps comparing it to movies and saying you pay $20 to go see a 3-hour movie, so why not a game?
Yeah, $30. I think a lot of video game developers want to put that argument out there, but that's a tough argument for me to attach or to use to validate your price for a video game. A movie is specifically telling a story, and good movies are worth the money. And they craft and they tell a very well done story. Video games often, and I would say 95% of the time, are not really that good at telling their stories.
No, there's very few.
I think also it's the market value of things, isn't it? It's just like the market speaks for itself, and we're used to paying certain prices, and I obviously as a game developer they want people to pay more, but it's going to be tough because you can get games like Limbo. People kicked off for that being $15, but I think they can justify that. $30 though, that's tough.
Don't you think it'll end up a lot like any other price increase where there's initial pushback to it? I mean, on the PlayStation 1, I'm talking U.S. prices. On the PlayStation 1, we got games for $30 or for $40 maybe. And then they went up to $50 on the PlayStation 2 and then $60 on the PlayStation 3, and everybody was just kind of okay with that over time. You think that'll be the case?
Well,
or is it a conspiracy, man? The Fed's ripping us off.
It is a conspiracy. I mean, if you think about it, video games, the sticker price on video games has stayed static for 10 years now, basically? It's been $60 and it's not changed. But the reality is, I think the cost of video games actually has probably gone up. If you really look at the full price the average person pays for the titles, it's probably going up because, you got your $60, then you've got all the DLC, the microtransaction stuff they throw into the mix.
I paid $110 for Fallout 3.
Totally worth it.
That's a lot of money.
Why
Chris.
did you end up paying? You get
Well,
a special edition and stuff.
You got your Pip-Boy lunchbox, didn't you?
No. So Fallout 3, it was $60 for the game,
Right.
and then there were 5 DLC packs at $10 each.
Yeah, and they weren't doing the season pass stuff that back then, were they?
No.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, so we'll see where that goes with Adrift. That we'll definitely have to look at some reviews. You could probably watch a Let's Play on your dinner break. So we'll just have to see how it goes. Final Fantasy VII Remake. Now, it's not really a big one for me, but it's definitely a big one for the JRPG community, and something that they've been crying out for. How long have people been crying out for this, Chris? Pretty much since the PS2.
Probably since the PS2, yeah. Final Fantasy VII was probably the first game that I really got into when I got back into gaming after college. So I kind of quit gaming after the SNES, and then I got a PS1 and played Final Fantasy VII, and that was my introduction to RPGs. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Final Fantasy VII probably had the best story in a game I played right up until maybe Red Dead Redemption, I think, for me. The way it sort of touched on emotionally, narratively, just the way it sort of brought up something that sort of transcended being a video game. I'll be interested to see where they go with that, and they've said that they're not going to make a carbon copy, so we'll just see how many fans kick off to say that it's not true to the original when it comes out. Sea of Thieves, unfortunately I probably won't be able to play it.
Right, rare game.
That new Rare game, that looked pretty cool. As we said in the Microsoft one we did, that looks really interesting.
Yeah, it was a bit of a surprise. I think everybody really expected them to reboot some kind of Banjo game, something, a known rare IP, and they came about with a brand new IP and pirates of all things. Definitely didn't.
So that looked really good, and that pretty much rounds it off for me. Obviously, almost all of E3 was great. There was a lot of standout games. Probably forgot quite a few, but for me, they're kind of the ones that stuck out. Maybe Mirror's Edge onto the end of that, but again, we didn't really see actual gameplay. We just saw a CGI that was in-engine, so we'll see what happens with that one.
All right, excellent. Mike, what about you?
Yo.
What stood out for you, if that hasn't already been talked about?
Well, obviously Fallout 4 is the big one. I think I remember when Ghost Recon came on, and I didn't know what it was. I was like, what is this game? This game looks amazing, and it was like Ghost Recon. But then I remembered it's Ubisoft, so you have to climb fucking towers probably and go, oh, look around, and then you get missions and stuff. So I'd like to see a little bit more about that. I have trouble getting excited about Siege. A lot of people get excited about Rainbow Six Siege, but to me, it just looks like a very sort of close quarters combat multiplayer game. I know it could be cool. I'm not ruling out that possibility, but I don't know. There's nothing in it to me.
It reminds me.
You can destroy the dry walls. I'm like, fucking great. I don't know.
It reminds me a lot of a Vegas competitive multiplayer.
Yeah, which is good.
Which is not, it's good, but the fact that it's kind of the only part of the game that there really isn't a single player per se.
Well, there is a single player, isn't there? Because they got that actress in. I can't remember her name.
I'm wondering if there really is. That's actually something that I question, and the way they positioned it, they brought in Angela Bassett to do some work on the game, and she is playing basically your controller, and she's sending you out on missions, and my gut tells me that it's a single player bot scenario where she's going out and putting you on basically on a mission, and so I don't think it's truly a single player.
I know. I mean, I even think it might be just like a sort of Titanfall thing where they just string together some shit with Angela Bassett in the middle of it.
You'll see her face pop up in the corner picture.
Yeah. And she looks like she gives a good performance. I don't really know of any films she's been in. I don't know who she was before this, but
Angela Bassett.
I don't know who. I don't know who that is. So, but I'm sure she's a very good actress. I think the Ghost Recon game, though, back to that. I think that's got my attention. I do like the look of that. I think Sony had a good conference. I think if you used to ask me who had the best conference, I think Sony had the best conference for me. Well, I say for me, actually. That's the opposite of what I mean. If I was a Sony fan, I think I would be freaking out now. I would say, oh my God, Sony's the bollocks. They've nailed it. I'm not a massive Sony fan. The only PlayStation I've ever owned is PlayStation 3. But I mean, it felt like it was written by a Sony fanboy, the whole thing, and
It
what a list.
definitely
It was
was a
front-
fan service show.
It was a fan service show. It was very front loaded. I feel like they fell off the second half, and Uncharted looked like more Uncharted, which was fine. But I think they had a great show. They paced it nice, and they gave some of the people what they want. But I think Microsoft had also an awesome show. But not a lot in the Microsoft conference that got me excited. Not tons. Sea of Thieves, not really for me. The Rare Play stuff, not really for me. I'm blanking on some of the other announcements, but nothing really stood out for me. And then I was very disappointed with Gears 4.
Really?
I'd have to say. I think for a show, for it to show your new game of a new title of an existing franchise like Gears of War, which is, I adore Gears of War. I think it's fantastic. And compared to the first and the second and the Mad World trailer and the second reveal with that boss and everything, I thought that was a poor show. It was too dark. I didn't know what the fuck was going on, and I didn't like the main character. I felt like if Marcus Phoenix was in that game, he would punch that main character in the fucking face, because there was a Locust coming out and he was like a Nathan Drake type of character. He's like, yikes! I hope he doesn't jump down here. I was like, fucking hell, what's this shit? All right, and it was too dark. I was Chromecasting it to the TV. And I couldn't see it. I couldn't see what was going on. No. And I
wonder if that's an issue with your Chromecast. It didn't appear.
I shouldn't have to fucking adjust my TV, Greg.
Hey, Mike, it wasn't a problem on this end. I
didn't have to adjust any more on the other demos. I didn't have to adjust the TV. So why the fuck should I do it for that one? No, bollocks. It was too dark.
Listen, Jesus.
I don't shit. And
you don't
I'm
mess with the Jesus.
I know.
I'm sure it will be fine. It looks like it's more Gears of War, but that wasn't a great demo for me. That I wasn't excited about that. It wasn't epic. It didn't end well. I didn't get a sense of any sort of time.
I will give you it wasn't epic. Not nearly like the original announcement for Gears, when we see him running through the streets and then he jumps through the window and then there's the big corpser in front of him.
I don't know if you remember the Gears 2 showing as well. It was phenomenal. Like you was on that big sort of cart train thing, and you saw things over there, and it was just the scale. They upped it up, and I upped it up. That's the thing. And I just thought, wow, that was so underwhelming for me. And that was their closer, and I was like, come on.
See, it's funny because I thought it looked fantastic. It plays. It looks like a Gears game. It plays and looks like a Gears game. Yeah, I suppose you could make the argument that they could have made that showing maybe more epic, but I actually liked the new characters a little more.
I
they're
hope that Locust doesn't come down here.
Okay, they never said Locust, for the record.
Well, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. No, I just like the fact that they were going for they're getting away from the giant muscle-bound bro dudes.
Yeah, but they have to carry all that armor, though. You have to be.
Well, but they weren't in full armor. I don't know.
Those are your people, Greg. What are you talking about?
Hey.
Greg looks like he could be a Gears of War character, by the way.
I think he is. I think he's not telling us. He's part of COG.
Come on, man.
If Marcus had showed up in that trailer and gone, who the fuck is this guy? And chainsawed him off, that would have been game of the year for me.
I purposely think they purposely did not show any of the original Gears people, because I think there's some kind of tie-in that's going to be a surprise one way or another, and that's why they avoided showing them in the initial trailer.
I don't want to appear too negative here. I do think
I
do think it's one of the best E3s we've ever had. And again, Microsoft didn't have anything that excited me. Halo 5, I have struggled to get excited about Halo. I'm a massive Halo fan back in the day. I love Halo 1 and 3 and 2 and Halo Wars, of course, one of my favorite games. But this might be a bit of a spoiler, I won't say it, but somebody sort of comes to an end on Halo 4. Somebody passes on.
Right.
I did not fucking know that. I played the whole game, right? I didn't even know that person had passed on, and someone said, "Oh yeah, that person's gone now." Yeah, so I've fallen out of love.
But
with
is
Halo.
she? Is she really passed on?
Might as well say it now, Cortana.
Spoilers, Greg.
Yes.
Spoilers.
You make me laugh, Cortana. There's an
Double
advert.
spoilers.
There's an advert in the UK.
We have gone far enough past this that everybody and their mother should know that Cortana went rampant and in theory is quote unquote dead.
There's
but-
an advert in the UK for Windows phones and stuff.
Right.
And,
She's alive, Mike. She's in your devices.
You know, like Cortana, when you say "Hello, Cortana,"
Right.
can you tell me this? There's a band in the UK, I can't remember their name, but it's so cheesy with the lines. Like Cortana says something sort of off the quiff or like funny or some silly thing, and the woman in the band says, "Oh, you make me laugh, Cortana," and it was on the radio. It was hilarious, and I was quoting that. But no, I've fallen out of love with Halo. My relationship with Halo is coming to an end, I think. They have to sort of really pull it out of the bag for me to come back to it. I think the best conferences were like things like the Bethesda one and the Ubisoft one. I thought Ubisoft had a fantastic conference, ended with the Ghost Recons, and that they had a solid lineup.
Right. Aisha Taylor, but
I think she does a good job, though.
she doesn't do a bad job. I think I've seen her one too many times now in that role. I don't know. Better than Mr. Caffeine for sure.
Yeah, well, I think she's okay. She is a bit like, she swears and she doesn't really need to. I mean, it's not like I swear a lot. And I feel, I don't know, she saves the show sometimes because some people do say things and you're like,
sure.
ooh. And she brings it back. Yeah, and I think Battlefront for me stands out as a flagship of a game. We finally got to see a little bit more, and that game looks stunning.
It was the one EA game that anybody I think cared about.
I love Pele. I'm sure he's a very nice man and he's very good at football. But what the fuck, Pele? Please get off the stage. Oh, poor guy. Yeah, but look, Battlefront, Jesus Christ! Like it didn't even look like it was real. Like it was phenomenal. So I'm excited for Battlefront. Yes.
All right.
Can't think of anything else, but there you go.
All right.
The Hoop Dog, the Hoop Gold
The what?
from EA. Did you see him?
No.
You know when they were scanning his face for the.
I did not
NBA
see
Live
that.
thing? He's called the Hoop Gold, and he came up on stage and he went Hoop Gold. Anyway, and he's like Hoop Gold, check it out. That's my highlight of E3, the Hoop Gold. Because they scanned his face and they made it look that it worked immediately, and then they showed a montage of the NBA game with him in it, which they clearly recorded about 3 weeks before,
Right.
And put it in. And it's like, look how easy it works and stuff. So the Hoop Gold, that's my highlight.
Okay. All right. So let's see. Outside, I mean, we've pretty much mentioned most of the games that I was going to point out. I think Horizon for the PlayStation 4 game was probably the standout game for me from the Sony conference.
That was amazing.
Yeah, Uncharted looks good. Don't get me wrong, but Horizon I think could be a real winner. I do worry. It is Guerrilla, and I'm not the biggest Guerrilla fan.
They have never made a game that I like.
Yeah, so
Guerrilla.
that is my worry. But dinosaurs and apocalyptic future.
Robot dinosaurs that you have to hunt and eat their batteries sounds like a fantastic game.
It could be a winner.
What was the Microsoft one, Recore? I thought looked interesting.
I think Recore could look very interesting, but I want to see more. You really didn't see anything from it other than the concept. It was a CGI trailer. It looks like it will be interesting. That's the one from Kenji Inafune, and I want to see more from that before I'll get fully onto the hype train. I think I can get with you, Mike, on Sony probably having a stronger conference for their fans. I think probably the biggest announcement from E3 was the backwards compatibility for the Xbox One in terms of impact.
Final Fantasy, that's a big one for them, and Last Guardian, and
I think they're as much as people say they want it and they're super excited for it, I do think that is still a vocal minority as opposed to a majority. And I think from a standpoint of an impactful announcement, the backwards compatibility only from the standpoint of Microsoft is trying to hang on to their old user base. And up until this point, outside of their exclusives, which, you can make the argument that Sony, you're trading blows exclusive for exclusive. So what was the compelling argument for anybody to stick with Xbox if there was no backwards compatibility? Sony's PlayStation Plus service was as good, if not better, in terms of free game offerings for potential fans. So there had to be something. And so now Microsoft has a pretty compelling message to send back to their still remaining 360 user base, which is all those digital games you bought and you thought you were never going to be able to play again. A good chunk of those are now going to be playable.
It's a very clever move, I think, because, like you say, they put an infrastructure in there to make it so PlayStation have put an infrastructure to charge people for playing their old games.
Right.
So if they go back on that now, so Microsoft have done it and they said it's completely free. So if PlayStation go back on it now, they've wasted all that time and resources making PlayStation now. So they almost can't. They've trapped them in their own way. They've put them in a dead end. It's a very clever response.
And Sony's already said they're not going to go back on PlayStation now. They plan to stay the course with that. And I think the other part of the backwards compatibility thing that's very interesting from a technical standpoint is how they're doing it. Before, with the 360, the way they did backwards compatibility with the Xbox, the original Xbox, was they actually had to put a software wrapper around each game that really was tailored for that specific game and would allow the emulation. And that's why you had a very limited catalog, and they had to put a lot of work into it. This go round, apparently, what they're doing
it's
is
easy, isn't it? It's just nothing.
They're basically wrapping the entire operating system of the 360, and they're just attaching it to each of these games. And so developers don't have to do anything to make these things backwards compatible. They just have to say yes.
Yeah.
So.
And apparently Halo Wars is high on that list, Greg.
Well, you would think so, because on the advertisement for the backwards compatibility, there are several game boxes that are very, very visible in the very front of it, and they're kind of like stacked behind one another. And right in the second row is Halo Wars sitting right there.
You know why? Because it was published by Microsoft, so it's like a no-brainer.
Yeah, and
like they don't have to get any permission or anything. They just go, yeah, we'll do that one.
And I also don't think they have any plans to do an HD remake of that game.
No,
that's the other part of it.
I want a fucking 2. I don't want a HD remake. I just want 2.
But I severely doubt you will see a Gears of War get release for backwards compatibility.
It's just odd, isn't it? How they're saying, look, we're backwards compatible, and here's Gears of War remastered, but we're backwards compatible. Gears of War remastered. What the fuck are they trying? It is a bit of a conflict. And I think they will come out with Gears of War.
They might, and maybe they'll do that because they realize they'll probably get backlash and called out for it if they don't.
Yeah. Because we've been playing the beta a little bit, Greg.
Right.
For the Gears of War thing. So because they have added little things to it. It's not just Gears of War, is it? It's obviously faster. It looks a little bit better.
Right.
But they've added like XP to the multiplayer, so that swaps it up. And
apparently, for the single player, they actually re-motion capped the entire thing, which that was a little surprising. So the visuals from the cutscenes and stuff are all they're keeping the original audio, but the visuals have all been redone. So I was happy to hear that. But again, that's a full price game. That's to me, there's other games that are coming out in that time frame that are probably going to take precedence over Gears of War Remaster.
It's August, isn't it, though? It comes out.
I don't know. I didn't catch the release date for
I'm sure it's August. Anyway, I've been talking far too long, and
I know.
Chris looks... I always wonder if the Skype video has frozen because Chris doesn't move.
He becomes very...
No, he moved. He's moving again. Like
a lizard bathing in the sunlight. He's just, very still and
somebody
silent.
in the chat said Chris raised an eyebrow, a rare emotional response for Chris.
That's funny.
All right. Well, I guess that kind of does it for the games that I was looking forward to. I mean, again, we covered everything. I think it's been a really solid E3. And, as much as I absolutely hated watching Square Enix's press conference because it was very difficult to listen to. They had a lot of translation stuff and a lot of people that were trying to speak English that shouldn't.
Yeah.
They had a ton of announcements.
Well, I like the western side of Square Enix.
Yeah, the western
No, I
side
like-
of Square Enix for me was exciting. I mean, Just Cause
They released
3.
great stuff. Yeah.
They've got Tomb Raider. They've got Hitman. They've got Deus Ex coming out. And then, I'm not sure about the Platinum game, but the Platinum's making the Nier title. I know some people were excited for that. And then there was all the Final Fantasy stuff, which,
Yeah,
there's that.
whatever.
Exactly.
I tell you what, though, I'm a big Hitman fan, and
Yeah.
Absolution I thought was one of the best Hitman. People think that Blood Money's good. I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, I prefer Blood Money." Play Blood Money now.
Right.
Play
Right.
Blood Money in 2015 and tell me that's better than Absolution, because it is not.
Absolution was definitely where it was at.
It was fantastic, Absolution. So I am ready for another Hitman. I can't wait for that. That's great. But Deus Ex, I didn't fall in love with, so I don't know. Maybe this next one will be better, but
I'm really looking forward to Deus Ex. It looks good.
yeah.
The game I'm not looking forward to? Actually, here is the one that I know.
The game of life, Greg. The game of
No.
life. We're in it now.
Black Ops 3. It will be a
My God.
pass. It will be a pass.
That was part of the Sony conference that I was like, co-op though.
Co-op. Yeah, there is that.
So I could not enjoy it with somebody else.
Yeah. I enjoyed Advanced Warfighter, their last one. It was good, or was it Advanced Warfare? Advanced Warfighter, I think, was the
That's
Ubisoft game.
And Warfighter was the Medal of Honor game.
Fuck, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, the last one was good, and I think it was Kevin Spacey that really nailed that for me. I don't see Kevin Spacey in this upcoming game, so my interest waned pretty quickly, and it's more COD, and for me, COD is it's one of those games you pick up on the cheap. Chris, would you be into a Call of Duty game?
I'll let you answer that, Greg. What do you think?
Moving on, Mr. Webster, Call of Duty, is that something you would be interested in?
If you asked me when we used to podcast as a group, yes, but
Right.
times have changed. Battlefield is what I like now, mate. Call of Duty.
What about Battlefront,
Same.
Webster? What about
Yeah, Battlefront. Let's talk about that real quick. Is that high on the list for? I mean, Chris, you're a big Star Wars fan. Battlefront, is that exciting you?
I'm cautiously optimistic about Battlefront, and I say that because I think it was Battlefront 2 on the PlayStation 2
Right.
back in the days of yore, and wasn't that impressed with Battlefront 2. So I'm cautiously optimistic to see what the new one's going to look like.
Right.
Hopefully it will be enjoyable.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good summation, especially at Battlefront 2. A lot of people hold that game up as this like holy grail, and it was really great. I had a miserable time with that game. It was back when internet connections were crap at best, and
Crap at best.
yeah, I mean, most people were dialing in on modems at that time. I think it was truly just the very beginnings of online gaming, and so
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's probably why I didn't like it, because I didn't even have my PS2 connected to the internet. So I was just playing bot matches. So that's probably why I didn't like it. So this one might be better if it's actually got a community built up around it.
Let's hope.
I don't really have any interest at all in Battlefront. Probably because
shocked.
I've got no nostalgia. I've never didn't play the other one. The only Star Wars game I've ever liked is Phantom Menace on the PS1, because it was kind of like explore different
That was-
worlds. And
Was that the Side-scrolling one? Or no?
that was the one where like you could do Jedi mind tricks on people, and you go to Naboo and all that stuff.
It was like a weird combination between action and RPG, and it was like a 3/4 top-down type viewpoint, right? If
right.
I remember correctly.
Yeah, I just enjoyed that game. The pod race game on 64 was quite good. What I didn't really like, the trailer for Battlefront was very fan service, wasn't it? Like, how many times do you think they're going to be able to do that wrap around a walker thing that they did once in a movie once? Like, that's like,
Yeah, I know though.
Well,
Chris.
but that's in all the games, though. Yeah.
That's so fun,
Right.
though. It's so
Just
much
like
fun.
Death Star trench run, right? Which they did once, but you got to do it again.
yeah, that's
You
like
got to
that's
live
it.
the
I mean,
moments.
Gotta
it
live
could
the
be-
moments.
It's gonna be popular. It could be interesting. We'll just have to wait and see.
I'm not even a big Star Wars fan myself. You know, I'm in that generation like you, Rich, where we was a bit too young for the old ones and a bit too old for the new ones, and you know, so Star Wars really doesn't do anything for me.
Our
but I
sci-fi is
did-
like some of the newer Aliens and maybe Back to the Future.
Back to the Future, yeah, and I think you know, I did play Battlefront 1 though, and I was blown away by this whole sort of ticket system that I really hadn't experienced before because I never played a Battlefield game, and I had a lot of joy just sort of playing, just being part of an army, you know, and I just thought that was great, and it's a massive, you know, battlefields, and it was giving me something that I just haven't played before. I didn't really like Battlefront 2 so much, so maybe Chris, you know, you saying like, but you played Battlefront 2, that was the one that I saw. I was like, yeah, this is okay, but it didn't capture what was great about the first one. So maybe you just had a bad run. I feel like this is going to be a good one.
Let's hope. The audio for it was fantastic.
Oh yeah.
It sounded Star Wars, like, big time. So
Yeah.
all right. Well, let us move on to something a little fun.
Wait a tick.
Wait a tick. I'm waiting a tick.
Richard Primrose has just come online.
Wait a minute. Is he really?
Uh-oh.
Let's see if we can get him into the call.
Did he fall asleep, do you think?
I would
there's
bet
a good
money.
chance.
I would bet money.
Let's see. Skulldugger has tweeted to me. Hold on.
I believe Richard Primrose in the house a little late.
Who the fucking hell's podcasting? Nobody told me.
Yes, we did. Hush your
Rich,
mouth.
come on. Come on, man.
Where the fucking hell did you tell me about podcasting, you beavers?
We've been all over
All I
Twitter
heard was
about it.
Banter on Twitter, and that was fucking it.
Rich, welcome to the show.
Are you alright?
We are doing fantastic. We are also live on Twitch at the moment. So for those that are not familiar with Richard Primrose, one of the original podcast crew, Skullduggerer, as he is affectionately known by his gamer tag.
Skulldugger.
So, Mr. Primrose, we just were getting through all of the games that we found to be highlights from E3. So, any that stood out for you?
First of all, can I just ask, for the sake of vanity and everybody's sanity, is my face on Twitch at the minute? Because I don't want that.
It is not, Rich.
Your picture of yourself
Yay!
dropping the beats is on
Yes.
Twitch at the moment.
Yes, you and the turntable.
Well, highlights.
I've missed that.
Do you even know? Do you even know what the video game is
I
anymore,
watch
Primrose?
Rich,
everything.
Rich, you're aware that E3,
I'm
it's this big
reinvigorated.
entertainment expo.
Right. Not Turntable Expo. It is about video games.
Yeah, Primrose is a DJ now. He's too good for video games.
No, I'm not. I'm coming back to video games.
He's heard his calling.
Series.
No,
Yeah.
I know. We'll catch up later if you want, Primrose.
Yeah, all right, mate. Okay, yeah. So highlights. Have you gone through each individual console maker and everything?
We basically picked out 3 or 4
Whatever
highlights
the
for
fuck
us.
you
But
like,
yes,
Prim-
at this
whatever
point,
the-
Rich, you're
in
running the
fact-
show, my friend.
You just
I
tell
was
us
very-
everything that we already said, and
Yes.
it'll
I
be
was-
cool.
I was very interested with the Horizon game.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that looked good. Hi, Rich.
Yeah. You're all right, Rich.
All
How you
right,
doing?
Rich.
Yeah, I thought that looked really good. Interesting. It's good to see somebody doing a new IP, which was refreshing. What else? I know everybody's going to kick me in the face for it, but you know
Kick you in the face for it.
Bit
the
odd.
way that Microsoft showed the AR stuff with the HoloLens, I thought was really good.
I thought it was a good
really
demo.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good demo of HoloLens, but
Yeah.
I still don't want to fucking get up and play my games. A
No.
long day at work. I want to sit on my fat lazy arse and play a game with a controller. I don't want to get up and because I joked about this before. It's like I put that shit on and Tara walks in. It's like, Mike, what the fuck you doing? You're standing on the table sniping people through the window. You're crazy. You look like a madman. That's not really how I want to play my games.
You know what I've heard? I mean, I've been listening to all the coverage and stuff this week, and the thing that there's 2 things with the whole of the VR stuff and the AR stuff. You can feel that the press is a lot more invigorated by it. and you can see everybody like they've had demos, and you can tell they're really impressed. And it's something that I didn't see. You know, when the whole 3D thing kicked off,
Right.
there was a lot of people being a bit pessimistic about it from the off,
Right.
and it seems totally different this time. But what I'm a bit worried about is all these. I mean, I've heard the guys coming in and talking on like Giant Bomb and stuff like that while they've been doing the weekly stuff. The thing that worries me is I don't think anybody's got a proper handle on what they're going to focus on with it. So I'm just a bit wary about how they're going to spread their ideas around. And
I
how
haven't, like you're saying, I haven't seen a game. Like I haven't seen like a thing where it's
Yeah.
like, I need to buy that. That's why I need to buy it.
Right.
yeah.
I think for me, VR is a challenge. Just because of my home life, I can't I can't shut out the world like that. I can't have, there'll be, let's just put it this way. It's rare occasions when I'm not being pulled in other directions at a moment's notice. Chris, I'm sure you can relate to this.
I can indeed.
Yes, and Primrose, you as well. I mean, being a father, and Mr. Webster, now that I think about it, you also a father. I mean, you can't.
All right, fine. I'm not gonna have a kid, okay? I'm not gonna.
Don't do it, Mike.
Yeah.
Everyone says it's great. It's not great. Don't do it.
Run.
They lie. They go, oh yeah, they're the best things.
Oh, yeah,
Bullshit. Bullshit.
They just
That
want
fucking-
someone else to be miserable with them.
Yes, exactly.
That holiday that you went on with all your lad mates, that was the best thing that ever happened to you. This is just kidnapping and torture, and that's it.
Yeah, but I mean, just getting back to that, I can't see putting on a virtual headset and earphones and tuning out the rest of the world for anything more than 5-10 minutes. And even then, I don't know that I would feel comfortable doing that because I know at any moment I probably would be getting something thrown at my head by my wife just because she could. So
And you would deserve it.
I always deserve it. I don't dispute that at all, Mr. Matthew. Thank you. The AR stuff, it's interesting, but I also have a hard time seeing the game aspect of that. I see the practical side of that stuff and seeing that being more successful for somebody on the go business wise, but I don't know, games, I don't know. Minecraft made a compelling demo, but I hate Minecraft, so
Well, there's one thing that's going to give it longevity, and we all know what that is. It's porn. So that'll get the money in the coffers, and hopefully somebody will be able to get the price point down and do something really creative with it. So yeah, see how it goes.
porn
Yeah.
leading the industry. All right, well said on that. Anything else, Mr. Primrose?
Yeah. So, show-wise, I mean, I like a lot of the stuff that there's quite a few things out of Sony that I like the look of, but a lot of it, to me, it seemed like it was a bit. There was no set in stone dates or anything.
All their the big games they announced are all 2016 and beyond.
Yeah,
Almost like Nintendo.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a bit of a disappointment. Guardian of Light didn't blow me away.
What the hell is
Well,
that?
I
What the
didn't
hell's
expect
Guardian of Light?
Yeah, I didn't really expect it to.
Guardian
what
of
is
Light,
it?
Last Guardian, you mean?
Last Guardian, sorry.
Last
Yeah,
Guardian.
All right.
Sorry, it's been a while.
It's all right.
The thing with The Last Guardian, we haven't really talked about The Last Guardian, but, I'm more of a Shadow of the Colossus fan, all right,
Right.
than Eco. So, I don't know. Back in 2008, right,
Right.
I think people were excited for The Last Guardian. But now in 2015, we've got games like Brothers and like Journey and Gone Home, that give you this very strange, like subtle story, Limbo even, you know what I mean? We have sort of games like that now. So I feel like The Last Guardian might be 5 years too late almost. But
Like Duke Nukem.
like Judah. But in saying that, it could be fantastic. We haven't fallen in love with the stupid dragon dog cat thing yet.
I kind of hated that thing through that demo.
No, but whilst playing the game, something could happen in it that you might go, I suddenly adore this creature or something. We haven't played it properly. We've just seen a very small cross section of it. But what sort of struck me as well was just like, it just seems like a very sort of standard you know, like, oh, the dragon thing jumps and then you have to jump to it. You know, there wasn't much else about it really that sort of jumped out at me apart from it looks cool. I feel like everybody was like, yes, The Last Guardian's here. But when we saw it, I haven't heard a ton of people rave about how fantastic it's going to be. I just heard a ton of people saying, yeah, finally it's going to come.
Mike, it was probably one of the most boring trailers I've ever seen. It did fuck all. It was jumping around a little bit of scaffolding that was falling down. It showed fuck all. If that is all the game is, it's basically just like Mario, where the screen moves along the side. It's pretty much it.
It's like Mario, but Yoshi's got some massive disability and he can only jump like so far.
I swear to God, like Mike said, if this come out 5 years ago, yeah, it would have blown people's minds. And if they had problems on it and decided to make it a PS4 game in 2012, if it's taken them 3 years to make that fucking trailer, I'm sorry for swearing, but it gets me annoyed because they've been building this hype for this game so much, and they could have showed something epic. Even bloody the Metroid game that's going to get cancelled had more gameplay than this. It was just ridiculous.
Well, I was going to ask how you felt, Rich, but you jumped right in and told me.
I'm not as angry as Rich is, clearly, but
I don't think we need to ask. I think Rich has been pretty clear.
Yeah,
no, I think it has the potential to be good. Still, you know, I want to give it its chance. All I'm saying is, it's one of those cases like be careful what you wish for. You know what I mean? Everybody's like, oh, where is The Last Guardian? And then we see it and we go, right, yeah, that's probably what the fucking game's going to be, isn't it? Just jumping around and shit.
Do you know what the trailer showed? The trailer showed it to be a bit like that Never Alone, which was ace, by the way. Never Alone on PC and all that stuff. The Inuit game.
Inuit.
Yeah, that was basically it. Just
Inuit
in full
Simulator 3000.
Yeah. It was like you jumping around with your doggy fox thing, just like following you, or you going the other way or whatever. That was basically it, but in full realized 3D rendered volumetric lighting and all that stuff. It just bored me. The trailer. They should have come out and just wowed everybody. Do you know, kind of like how the new Zelda was like, wow, it's open world. This is new. This is fresh. I know that wasn't this one, but you know. And do you know what? Do you remember that guy who I didn't write his name down, bastard? But that guy who come out and hosted the Sony conference to begin with, that was that guy who come out really tanned in the very expensive Hugo Boss suit last year, wasn't it?
Yes, that's the new head of Sony.
Yeah, you can see he dialed down the whole I'm better than you class, because he come out before kind of looking like he just bought Real Madrid. So this year he come out a bit more toned down. I don't think he had a tie on. I can't remember. I wanted to see more of the British guy. Again, it was his name Adam? Andrew House.
Andrew House, yeah.
He did an interview on the BBC for it, actually. I wanted to see more of him because I think he's a good guy. I think I like his presentations.
Hey, when in doubt, chuck a British guy up there. Everybody loves him.
Andrew
Look
House,
at Peter Molyneux.
Andrew House reminds me of a Keebler elf. Every time I see him on stage, I think of Keebler elves and Keebler cookies. And I do love cookies.
I was going to say, Peter Molyneux can just say whatever he wants, and everybody goes, yes, Peter, yes, we'll do whatever you say.
What about the Nintendo, the thing we haven't really touched on?
Hold on. Rich, before we get away from The Last Guardian, I want to chime in. Mr. Matthew, do you have any thoughts on The Last Guardian?
None.
Fantastic, just like always. I will.
Good to have you back, Chris.
I haven't cared about this game in ever, so I'm just continuing along that course.
That is I love you're true to the character right there, Chris. Mike, I think I'm with you. I felt like they didn't really show us anything new, and Rich, much like you said, that the demo itself was underwhelming. I also think
I could have just said that in one sentence.
It's okay,
just like you.
I feel there's two different styles of like animations happening. Like the dog looks really realistic and the environment looks super realistic. And then you have the little eco character that looks like an eco character, which just it breaks everything for me.
It definitely stands out. It doesn't bother me as much as maybe it bothers you, Greg. But everything sort of has some sort of like a sepia tone to it. You know what I mean? Everything's sort of brown and green and stuff. And the main character's really bright. You know, he's wearing blue and white colours. And
looks like he's glowing.
He does. I think that's a choice. And that was back on the old announcement.
Right.
You know what I mean? They haven't changed that. So for me, I don't know. That doesn't really bother me. I'll get what you're saying though. It is a bit like, oh, that's weird, but I think it's just a choice, a style choice.
All right. Well, let us continue, Mr. Primrose. What else?
Yeah, that was about. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that seemed like it was just tied in partnerships and stuff with Sony. So Call of Duty. I wasn't too bothered about that. The one thing that stood out, but it came in from the side, and it was a different conference, which was the. I know it's a bog standard game that we've all played, but the Rainbow Six Siege. Quite excited for that.
Okay.
But that's just me wanting to get back into online gaming. I thought Uncharted 4 was excellent, even though they cocked up the guy who was meant to be playing it. Wasn't
Yeah, that was funny.
That was
He
funny.
just stood still in the market, but that was funny. Yeah.
And they
Well,
just restarted the whole thing as well, like from the beginning, just reset.
Yeah. Well, and he was like hunched over too. I mean, I literally thought like he was drunk for a second. I was watching it without audio, so I didn't know what was quite happening. And I looked and I just see, Nathan kind of hovering there. And I was like, is he drunk in the market? I'm like, and then he's not moving for a couple more seconds. I'm like, okay, the demo broke. But, all right. Well,
The
if
guy was pissed at the end of it as well.
Rich, Primrose.
Which, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I need to make sure I use last names for this podcast. Primrose, are we good to move on?
No, Shenmue, I couldn't give a toss of that. I'll just say that.
I could. You know, I don't know if has
Well,
anybody played Shenmue 1 or 2. Has anybody played Shenmue 1 or 2?
I believe I tried playing Shenmue 2 way back in the day.
I had
Anybody
one
else?
on the Dreamcast.
Anybody else? Anybody?
No.
No. I'll tell you this now. Shenmue was fucking shit.
Right.
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 It was fucking awful.
Make it again. Make it again. Why?
A lot of ideas, really ambitious. I don't dispute that. It was way ahead of its time, but it was fucking shit, right?
Right.
And that gameplay footage that they showed that was sort of updated looked even worse than anything I played back in the day. So no, I do not want that.
I think Sony agree with you, otherwise they would have funded this themselves.
Yeah.
Me and Greg said it was the most awkward thing of, hey, this guy wants your money. We're not going to give it to him.
We're not with him.
Right.
We're not with this guy. We're totally with him now.
Yeah.
He has it.
Now that it funded, yeah, we're backing it. Of course, we're backing it. We were backing it all along. Yeah, that was a very weird situation.
That funded almost as fast, or probably a little bit faster than Ukulele, because that thing
No,
flew.
Guinness World Record funding for that game.
Yeah, it was. It's the
apparently.
fastest fucking
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
I
Ukulele
checked it after the
terrible.
announcement, and it was already up to like 1.6 million after like only a couple of hours.
There was a
Primrose.
jacket, wasn't there? There was a jacket worth 10 grand, and somebody
Yes.
bought it.
Jacket and
Quickly.
dinners with the team for 10 grand.
Oh, I got my dinner.
Okay, good.
So,
Congratulations.
So I could also go,
Yeah.
your game was fucking shit.
All right, Mr. Primrose.
one more low light and then one highlight, and it's
Okay.
not even really Sony because it's going to be out on everything. But No Man's Sky.
Right.
I don't think. I think when that comes out, you're going to feel cheated. This whole procedurally generated planets and stuff.
Right.
I've got a feeling that you're going to get bored of it very quickly.
Yeah, on this planet, the grass is red instead of yellow.
right.
Yeah, exactly.
My favorite was though that demo, because he sounded like he had no desire to be there.
Yeah.
I mean, he was just like,
Bored
well,
of his own-
yeah, and now we're on
I
this
think,
planet
to be
because
honest,
I knew it worked. And,
Greg, to be honest, I think he's just a very British guy. British people aren't very good at showmanship. You know
No,
what I
no,
mean? Like, we're not very good at saying how great we are or anything.
Mike, you are
We're just-
fantastic at saying how great you are.
we just apologize. I'm sorry.
I love it. He was
To-
like, he's walking in the demo and he's like, oh, I'm in the water. Oh,
Yeah.
look, fish.
We're not very good at that
Oh,
frustrating.
I haven't
Americans.
got
just
very
admit it.
long, and I've got so much to show you, so I'm just going to go over here.
Right.
What frustrated me about the No Man's Sky Primrose, I don't know if you saw this, was he hinted about a sort of objective in the game. He says everybody's trying to get to the center of the star system of the galaxy, and that sort of hinted to me that there's a goal. You know what I mean? There's
Right.
something to aim for, and I'm guessing that you've got to mine planets and you've got to kill aliens or whatever, and to get resources to get to the middle of the
Right.
the map, and I thought that was quite interesting. Completely glosses over it.
Right. Well, I don't think it's still really fleshed out. I think that story bit, if you will, is still being pulled together. And they only recently came up with that idea of maybe we should just make it about getting to the center of the universe. They did make it pretty clear you are never going to run into somebody else. Which that I found odd because I thought that was kind of part of the whole thing of it is you could by chance run into somebody else, but you could run into a planet discovered by somebody else, but this really is going to be a single player experience. You're not going to be playing with other people cooperatively.
Yeah. I'm assuming that's what that data upload business is about, isn't it?
Yep.
It's just like stamping the name of the planet and that's it, job done, isn't it, really? Yeah, but moving on anyway, let's throw away the negative. Positive. I absolutely love the look. I've never played a Battlefront game, Star Wars, and I thought it looked tight. It had all of the. See, the thing is with DICE that I've always loved, and it's always really got me involved in like the Battlefield games, is the sound, and it looks like they've carried that through with authenticity for Star Wars. Which, as a Star Wars fan, I can't wait for that. So, definitely.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for it. Primrose, how do you feel about the whole Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker being like playable? Like
that's what I did. That's the thing. I thought that cheapened it a bit.
I did too.
You know, it looked really authentic all the way through it and everything, and then that happened at the end, and it just drew me away from it a bit.
Right, because whoever gets Luke Skywalker or Darth Vader is one going to be super good, and he's also just going to be a douchebag running around the battlefield being an asshole.
Well, as far as I know, Greg, sorry, but I think he's just an upgrade, I think, or he's just like a perk.
Right.
I'm not sorry, no. No, go on, Chris.
So if I may, Mike, I'm going to anyway.
Just kill him, Chris, kill him.
I'm gonna try. Let me see. I forgot what I can't. Forget about it. In the Battlefront 2 Star Wars on the PlayStation 2, whenever you had to earn the heroes, right? So Han Solo,
right.
Skywalker, Darth Vader, and they were timed. So you had a certain amount of time with them, and every time you took damage, it took away time. I think there was a way to earn more time. So it could be like the helicopters in a Battlefield game, where if someone's really awesome, they can change the game. Everyone else will just crash it.
I suppose
a perk.
We'll have
like
to
Chris
see.
said, it was a perk. It was something that you earned. It wasn't like you can be Storm, because everybody would be a Jedi. You know what I mean?
Right. No. I mean, I do know it's a perk. It just, to me, I would have rather seen different kinds of perks instead of an actual named character coming onto the battlefield and being playable.
Can I cut away from this now? Because I want to talk about another thing that's mechanic based.
Why not, Rich? Why not? You
do whatever you want, Primrose.
Let's freestyle this.
Just the Ricky P show from here on out. So just roll with it.
I'll shut up in a bit because I want to get a drink. The Division. What did everybody think of that whole thing about cheating? And what do you think that's going to be in like a multiplayer type environment?
I think any time you introduce an excuse to backstab people, can I take people back to the Kane and Lynch multiplayer mode? Right. Any time, especially the internet, you can backstab someone, they will backstab you. And it will just be a shoot fest. The good thing about the Division, I suppose, is that it's not all based on that. It's just a certain area. You know, most of it is just co-op fighting enemy AI, but then a certain area is just going to be like DayZ, you know, where it is a bit like, ooh, but you can get out of that area. I think that's a really clever move, and I think the Division is shaping up very nicely.
I'm pretty excited for it.
It's just the fact that they focused on that and stuff, and the thing on the end, I was like, no, I don't. But then again, like Mike says, that's only one node of the multiplayer. So
the risk reward could be pretty compelling too, because if you think about it, it's like, do we, you know, maybe you're just out there playing by yourself that day, and you're like, should I venture in and maybe try and get something out of the dark zone, you know, and you go for it, and you get in there, and then you team up with another group, you're going to be on edge. You know, you're going to be like, fuck, you know, you get to that extraction time, and you're instantly going to be on the defensive. And I know from what I heard, there's like an extraction area, so you can spread out a little bit. So you're not necessarily going to be standing right next to one another. And I think these smart teams will actually position themselves in cover and get away from the other individuals. So this way they at least stand a chance in a firefight. But yeah, I'm pretty excited for it. I think it is shaping up nicely, Mike. I would agree. All right.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Rich, any other thing you want to mention before we move on here?
No, you carry on, Greg. I'll just jump in as
All
I
right.
see fit.
So here's a fun part. Mr. Webster, you get to relax for just a skosh. We have some trivia from Jason Johnson. Sent in some video game trivia. And being that Rich and I are on the show pretty much, regularly now, and being that Chris, Mike, and Mr. Primrose, you not as frequently have been on the show of recent, I figure the first 3 questions should be given to the 3 of you. So I'm actually going to give each one of you a particular question because I think
Wait,
it fits
are we having a
in
quiz?
with you. Yes, we're having a quick, it's a small quiz.
I'm so excited.
Yes. So, Chris, you're going to get the first question. And if you can't answer it, it will go to Mike, and then it will go to Mr. Primrose in kind of a round robin, if you will. And then, Mike, you will get the second question, and Mr. Primrose, you will get the third question. So, Chris, your question to start with. It's multiple choice, so just so you know. What is the name of the voice actor who plays Marcus Phoenix in the Gears of War games? And I'm actually going to do you a solid here, Mr. Matthew. In the chat where you guys have been chatting stuff that I can't see on Skype, I'm plugging the question in for you to see with all of your multiple choice answers. And I possibly just deleted it. I don't know.
I see. You gave me choices. I got it.
Yes. All right. So
I know it's not. It's not that one.
Phil Lamar. So is it A, Phil Lamar, B, Troy Baker, or C, John DiMaggio, or D, Nolan North?
Tell you what, this is getting a lot more high-tech since I last did this.
Yeah. There's even emoticons.
The emoticons, by the way, get automatically put in there. It's actually A, B, C, and D on my side when I'm looking at it, but translated in Skype.
Oh, it's because you put them in parentheses.
Yes.
Yeah, I get it. I'm going to go with Troy Baker because he has a beer next to his name.
All right. Christopher Matthew, you are wrong. Mike Chin. What is the name of the voice actor who plays Marcus Phoenix in the Gears of War games? Is it
We all know it's not
A,
Troy Baker.
Phil Lamar, C, John DiMaggio, or D, Nolan North?
I'm sure it's John DiMaggio because he did the voice for Bender as well.
Wasn't he a baseball player?
It was Joe DiMaggio, for the record. But John DiMaggio is, in fact, the correct answer. Well done, Mike Chin.
He also does Adventure Time as well. I
John
think he does
DiMaggio.
Yes.
I think he does the little Ralph dog for Adventure Time.
Well done. Well done.
Someone in the chat is throwing out answers for you, Greg. Lazy Game TV is throwing it out.
I like it. Oh, hey, be on your toes. Mr. Primrose, are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, here is your question. Which organization in the Halo universe is responsible for the creation of the Spartan program? Is it A, ONI, Office of Naval Intelligence, B, UEG, United Earth Government, or C, UNSC, United Nations Space Command, or D, Sapien Sunrise?
Right, the obvious answer is UNSC, because that's all.
Sounds like a trick question.
Yeah, it
Rick,
does.
don't fall for it. Don't fall for it.
Mr. Primrose, what is your final answer?
Oh no! I'm not.
I would listen to the.
I would not pay attention to anything other than what is on your brain.
I would listen to the youthful visage of Richard Webster. He's throwing you some valuable information.
Yeah.
I like that. Sweet.
I'm gonna go with ONI.
Mr. Primrose.
Yeah.
You are right. Yes, it is in fact ONI, Office of Naval Intelligence, which brings us to Mike Chin. Mike Chin.
He's a crafty guy, isn't he, Greg? He's trying to catch us out.
He is. Mike, your question.
Yo.
I did not know the answer to this one. Mike, what's the name of the protagonist in Fez? Is it A, Fez, B. Pablo, C. Mitch, or D. Gomez?
Uh,
The name of the protagonist in Fez, Mike. Who do you play as? Fez, Pablo, Mitch, or Gomez?
I'm gonna go with
They've all been trick questions so far, Mike. Just throwing that out there.
yes. Gomez.
Mike Chin, whether you cheated or not, you are correct. It is Gomez. Well done. I had no
he
clue.
the answer tattooed on the inside of his eyelid whilst he was
Yeah,
rubbing.
Yes,
I can't
yes.
stop rubbing my
Yeah.
hay fever is so bad I can't see anything.
That was kind of how that was going down.
I don't think you moved your smartphone there.
All right, gentlemen. Back of the box time. I'm going to read you a description. I'm not going to print it up for you, so you have to listen carefully. Mr. Webster, we will start with you for the back of the box description.
Jesus. Okay.
Everyone will get one guess. You'll get one
Don't
guess.
mess with Jesus.
If we don't get it right, I will give a clue, and then we'll go another round. Here we go, Mr. Webster.
Okay. Eyes closed.
As blank, morph into an astounding array of creatures as you travel through a world of action-packed adventure. Harness the power of your inner warriors on a quest to rescue elemental ancestors and destroy the Dark Troll King, Thorn. What game am I?
Elemental monsters. Dark King. Elemental monsters.
I don't know what this game this
No
is.
repeating
Rich.
it for Siri. All right.
I don't know what game this is,
Siri,
Rich.
what
But this definitely
is-
sounds
Siri,
like
who is the Dark Troll King Thorn?
if I read
Mr.
the back
Webster,
of this box,
I
would
need
definitely not buy
an
it.
answer right now.
Can you read it again for me?
I will read
Look,
it one more time.
Cortana.
He's got his Google Glass on.
No, he's
behind
Prime
it,
Siri.
Mike.
Yeah, he's
Maybe
Prime
laugh,
Siri up to the
Cortana.
phone. As blank, morph into an astounding array of creatures as you travel through a world of action-packed adventure. Harness the power of your inner warriors on a quest to rescue elemental ancestors and destroy the Dark Troll King Thorn. What game
so
am
you
I?
can, you can morph into a creature. I honestly don't know, but it sounds like it's possibly a Nintendo game. So I'll just make a guess because I don't know. Let's just say Micro Machines. It's a fake guess, but let's just move it along.
All right.
Micro machines.
Christopher Matthew. As blank, morph into an astounding array of creatures as you travel through a world of action-packed adventure. Harness the power of your inner warriors on a quest to rescue elemental ancestors and destroy the Dark Troll King Thorn. What game am I? And if you haven't figured it out yet, Mr. Webster, you were wrong.
I'm trying to think of a game where you morphed into lots of different creatures. Oh, what was that one on the Sega Genesis a long time ago? You know what I'm talking about.
That one.
Yeah, that one. Let's
That
go with
one.
that. Was it that one?
It might have been that one.
I forgot the name of that one, so we're just going to go with the Sega Genesis Battle Beasts.
Mike Chin. As blank, morph into an astounding array of creatures as you travel through a world of action-packed adventure. Harness the power of your inner warriors on a quest to rescue elemental ancestors and destroy the Dark Troll King Thorn. What game am I?
If I read this box, Greg, I would not want to buy this game. It sounds like completely not my thing. I don't know. I don't even have a guess. Elemental.
I've got an actual guess now that could be true. Just throwing that out there. Put pressure on you.
I've got a guess.
I like Mike rubbing his eyes and slowly looking at the screen.
I don't know. I've literally got no
Shame
idea.
on you, Christopher Matthew.
So I'm going to say fucking Kingdom of Amalur.
Richard Primrose.
I've got a feeling it might be a kid's game.
Would you like me to read it to you again, or do you want to give your guess?
No, I'm just gonna have a guess to get it moving.
Okay.
Is it? I don't know exactly which one. Is it something like a Spyro game? A Spyro.
That was my first guess, but you just are only a dragon.
Richard Webster.
I'm
Your
Primrose.
hint I know. That means you got it wrong, Mr. Primrose. I just move on. I didn't even tell you got it right or wrong. You got it wrong. Mr. Webster, here is your hint. We're now full circle. This is a launch title for the Xbox 360.
Circle jerks.
See, I feel bad because I saw the picture. Shall I just say it? Shall I just say
Yes. Put us out of our
Okay.
misery here.
Everyone on Twitch has seen the picture too. They know.
it? Okay, it's Cameo, that fantastic game we love.
Yes. Fantastic. Rare game. Cameo. Elements of Power. Yeah. Well
By the way,
done.
my guess was Altered Beast 2, so it was completely way off.
No, well done to Jason Johnson. He
Not
stumped
even
you
Altered
guys.
Beast 1, just 2.
Yes.
I think that was the Genesis one.
That was the Genesis one, probably. All right. Well, let us
Wait,
move.
right now, guys, though, purple versus
Ooh.
Shadow. This match
No,
is purple very
no.
Primrose is back.
He's dropping the beats.
I'm not used to doing the Twitch malarkey.
I'm not into this modern music, and I know you're a DJ now, Primrose, but that wasn't for me at all.
No, not for me either.
Not for me either. Right.
All right. Mr.
It
Matthew.
is just like old times, isn't it?
Mr. Matthew, in the show notes, we have this area about new releases. Would you be so kind to read the new releases coming for next week?
I would, Greg. Except
as
one
you scroll down to it.
one thing about the show notes.
They weren't open in front of you. I know
I
this.
kind of closed the show notes.
This happens often. You're not the first person to tell me this, nor will you probably be the last person to tell me this.
No,
But I wanted a Christopher Matthew reading. This is
I have lousy at
old time's
podcast
sake.
show notes. Is that it? No,
That would not be it.
episode.
We all all podcasts call their notes show notes.
That's
I
true.
Go on my,
I
when I
have
go on my Google Drive, I've got like 5 things called show notes.
show notes for the gamesman. No.
No.
Oh, here it is. I found it. What role will you? No, those are the wrong notes. New releases June 20th to 26th. Now here we go. Batman Arkham Knight. If you haven't had enough of your Batman melee action, Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition. Excuse me, let me back up. Batman Arkham Knight coming to Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC on June 23rd. Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition coming to Xbox One, PS4, and PC June 23rd. Final Fantasy 14 Heavensward coming to PS4, PS3, and PC June 23rd. Planet Side 2 is coming to PS4 June 23rd. Catch a Ride. It's not Catch a Ride. It's just Ride. It's coming to Xbox One, Xbox 360, PS4, PS3, and PC on June 23rd. Art Academy Home Studio is coming to the Wii U. Way to keep the content running, Wii U.
Yes.
On June 25th. Fort Meow is coming to PC and iOS on June 26th. I imagine that has something to do with cats or perhaps state troopers. I don't
Dogs.
know. And Tokaiden
Come on, Chris.
Tokaiden Kiwami coming to PC on June 25th. Yeah, that was a great
Yeah.
DeLacy pronunciation of new releases. And okay.
Well done, Mr. Matthew. Thank you for that.
Dun-dun-dun-dun.
All right. In terms of ongoing stuff in the community, we have a couple updates, but most of these will get done next week. The Gamerscore Challenge, Mark will get on that for next week. It's not been
Yeah, he
updated
will.
through this week. Yes, I know. But I told him he could take the week off, so it's not his fault. Golf Club Challenge, for those
No,
that have
Parsnip.
been
Ride has
playing.
not been put back to December.
The OC Challenge number 19 is currently up, and that will carry on through to next week. And you're playing the La Vallée Glacia. I don't even know.
Easy
it's
for
a
you to
handicap.
say,
Yeah, apparently not. It's a handicap course. Just look for it. OC X Gen Challenge 19 in the golf club game, and you will find that tournament, and you can play. Just make sure you have Marcanix on PS4 as a friend. You have Murphy's Law on the Xbox One as a friend. Or if you're one of those PC knuckle draggers like Gary D. Felice, you want to make sure you have the Real Defoe on your friends list
Don't
so we
hate.
can track your scores. All right. We Are Epic is a little competition we have going on our Facebook page because we like Facebook. It's an important part of our lives. Being older people, we love Facebook. you want to post up a 30-second video on our Facebook page, just jump over to fb.g4te.com. Just type that into your browser. It takes you there. You can post up a 30-second video. And the best part, you could get selected, if it truly is epic, to win a $20 prize in either PSN, Xbox Live, or Steam. So there you go. Robbie Jackson recently posted up 3 different videos. One playing the golf club. One doing something that looks like The Witcher 3, we're not quite sure. And one playing Bloodborne. We also have a Project Cars Hot Lap Challenge going on for June. That continues on. Go over to the forums and check it out on G4TE. You want to, or hit up Ian at Gonzo_FK to get details on that. But it's basically the car is the Radical SR3-RS. The tune is any tune. The track is Ultron Park Island. And you need to beat some very aggressive scores if you want to get up to the leaderboards. Victors achieved will also be updated next week, so nothing to report this week. Mike, Mike, I'm actually going to have Mr. Primrose. Primrose, who oftentimes during podcasts at this point in time was caught snoring. Rich, I would love for you to read out our closing notes. Take us out. Give us.
Closing notes. The button. Where's the closing notes? I can't see. I've only seen Victory's. Oh, look, you see, you've got a big blank bit there. That's just there to throw me off, isn't it? Right, okay. So, if you want to be part of the conversation, they broadcast, these guys here that I'm with today, on twitch.tv/gate or live.gate.com.
Right.
SpeakPipe Live, which I'm really surprised not many people do that, but I'm guilty as well.
I think Twitch has kind of taken over for the SpeakPipe. People are having more fun in the chat, and they can have that conversation going.
But you know what? As a normal person that's like listening to podcasts not through the Twitch live and stuff, I think it's handy to have that SpeakPipe because, you know, if you're listening to the podcast at the time, and there's often times when, you know, I hear you lot talking and I'm just about ready to throw my phone at the wall because you've got a fact wrong or something, then just press the button on that SpeakPipe and just vent your frustration and send it to the guys at G4TE. And as always, they've got emails, so not many people use them anymore, but podcast@gate.com, G4TE.com, and the age-old tweet. Now, I still keep the tweet on my phone, and that's how I found out that I could be coming on here tonight, but nobody actually confirmed it with me, but I'm not going to say anything about that. And it's at OC_podcast, and there's a Facebook group as well, and I've had a bit of banter on there as well. That's good. So you got fb.g4t.com. I would have thought that was Facebook, but that's good. And then what's that last one?
Well, the next one is we actually have a little Green Man game voucher that Mr. Webster secured for us.
Ah, right. Okay.
Yeah. So you type in gmg.g4te.com, and it'll take you to Green Man Gaming. You get a 20% voucher, or 20% off voucher, I should say. It's much easier for Christopher Matthew. Is it now?
The voucher code, the code is on our website, our Facebook, and our Twitter a few weeks ago. But yeah, the GMG, it takes you there for a special thing, and you put your code in, you get your discount.
Well done.
Yes, and then as well, if you're feeling charitable, I know there's been a lot going on in the world this year, and you like to dig your hands in your pockets and send money to Nepal and everything. But there are destitute gamers, and if you feel the need that you would like to, you know,
wow, what an angle!
Send some bottle lids or such like through the post or over the internet. You can donate.g4te.com. And of course, as with every podcast, there's iTunes reviews. You can give us iTunes reviews and Stitcher as well. So there you go. Just get yourself on iTunes, give us a review. It helps.
Maybe we should give Primrose another 2-year break because I think that's the best he's ever done the closing notes in the history of his broadcasting career.
I didn't hear the word at all.
I know. No ers. There were a few ums.
Yeah.
2017, we'll have another reunion show. Rich
So, yeah. Yeah, so follow us on Twitch as well, because then you can get to see some lovely faces.
Yes, or pictures of faces.
Yeah, or pictures of faces.
Yes. All right.
I'm just a spinny wheel at the moment. I don't know.
You are just a spinny wheel, Mike, but that's the story of your life.
I'll stop and
The
start.
internet cannot handle your hair. Is the problem?
No. Mike, I am actually very happy to see, though, that the glow is gone. Last week, for those that didn't tune into the Twitch channel, Mike was on
Yes.
absolutely sunburned beyond belief and wearing a
Yes.
red shirt. I mean, he just looked like the devil.
I was wearing a red shirt.
If you look at Richard Primrose's picture right now on Twitch,
Yeah, that's
he
pretty
was
much it,
that
yeah.
red.
Yeah.
It would. That's perfect right there.
It's washed off now. I was filming at a quarry. I had the glamorous job of filming at a quarry, and it was sunny all day, and men being men, I was just like, fuck it. And I got burnt. I bun up, and I was wearing a red top. It wasn't a great choice of clothes.
It was solid.
I am now normal again.
Are you
I
really
just have
ever
my-
normal?
Nah.
All right. Well, let's see. Mr. Webster, being the youngest of the group, why don't you start us off on shoutouts?
Okay. First of all, I'd like to shout out this ice lolly that my girlfriend gave me. It was very nice. It's a little late for ice lollies, but kick up my heels. I'm on the
Friday.
road. It's Friday. I'm on the road. I will say this: I've learned as well. I tried it and hated it in one try. I do not want to watch conferences with people speaking over them. I was watching Giant Bomb and Just Cause 3 was on, and it was basically like the Just Cause 3 man was like, and our brand new feature is, and then Giant Bomb were like, whoa, look at that explosion. And I completely missed it, so I was just never doing this again. I want to shout out the missus because I'm podcasting from her home, her apartment, as we speak, which is why you don't have my webcam on. And I'm missing my microphone. I want to shout out the community. Everyone was very excited for E3. It's probably been the best E3 we've had in a long time. All the hosts are excited. I'm glad to see Chris and Rich and Mike and Greg and myself all here as a quick reunion because that's the good old days. And yeah, just the community and the listeners because we've enjoyed interacting with you this week and going over the news. And it's a great time to be a gamer. I'm going to pass it to the other Rich. Go.
Yeah, good to be here. Great. Yeah. I'm going to shout or use like that. Good being back. Actually, I slipped back into that mode. It's seamless.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
It's like an old pair of slippers for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, really good. Seriously, podcasting and everything, guys at Veteran Gamers, you guys on the OC as well, keeping me informed and everything. It's kept me enthusiastic about wanting to get back into games and stuff, and that's invigorated me to keep.
Can we
tabs
talk
on.
about? Can we talk about what games mean to Chris and Primrose at the moment? Because we haven't heard from for a long time.
Sure.
You know, what do games mean to them? What have they fallen off games? Do they still play games? They just listen to podcasts now. You know, what's going on? Primrose, you can go first.
Yeah, the circle, the spinning circle has spoken.
Yes.
Mine at the minute. I mean, I said this the last time I was on the podcast. I was probably playing Call of Duty, and that was about it. The only thing I'm doing console-wise at the moment is Metal Gear Solid 4, because I've always wanted to get back into them, and I had the chance to get hold of a copy of that to play that. And then the rest of it's just really just been laptop. So I've been playing absolutely tons of Hearthstone. I'm mad on just every day. I'm on that. It's as bad as flaming that bubblegum game, all the Candy Crush or whatever. That's my mainstay at the moment. But yeah, I mean, like I say, it's all the podcasts, and because you've still got the enthusiasm for it. I fell off it because now the whole idea about doing old generation games, I'm just hearing about new games. So I want to play new games, and thanks to the banks mis-selling people PPI, I'm going to get a console. So yeah, we're on it.
Nice.
We're on it, and I can't wait to get some multiplayer stuff going again because that's what I've missed the most, like playing stuff online. So yeah, looking forward to it.
All right.
Yeah, that's me. What about you, Chris?
So for me right now, it's down to time. Things have gotten a little busier since I changed jobs. I still try to get a little bit of gaming in when I can, and I certainly enjoy listening to the podcasts weekly. Mostly just been PC ended up with Skyrim and XCOM. I know Skyrim came out in 2011, but I'm still playing it. And the XCOM 2 announcement provided me the motivation to finally play the XCOM Enemy Within expansion, which I'm glad I finally played. That's a really good addition to the XCOM game. And then so Katie was out of town. Katie being Mrs. CP, she was out of town for a few months, and when she came back, I was like, I would like to get on a podcast. I had a chance to podcast with the Gamesman last weekend, and now with all of you lovely lads this week. So thanks. Glad to have the opportunity.
Guys, it was
So
a
good.
one-sentence answer, but thanks for your kind words. I'm only messing. I love you loads. I'm really excited that we're all back together.
Yeah, it's good.
It has
Yeah.
been good.
It's good.
I'm gonna well up in tear now.
Yeah.
Well
I'm
done.
going to shout. I've
good.
got a shout as well. I've got
Are
a
we-
shout. Jude.
Are we there yet?